Today is February 2nd, 2022. And now that we are a month into the new year, it is a good time to ask, how are you doing with your New Year's resolutions? Every year, many of us set out to accomplish something new, holding on to the idea that with a new year comes new opportunities and that we should make every effort to improve ourselves. According to Forbes, the most popular New Year's resolutions are about self improvement. 23% of people say they want to start living healthier. 21% say they want to become happier. 20% are determined to lose weight. 7% plans to exercise more. 5% vows to stop smoking, while 2% say they will turn down the bottle a little more. The sad truth is, however, that while many of us set out to improve the quality of our lives at the start of every year, a study conducted by the University of Scranton says that only 8% of us will successfully follow through on our resolutions. Nevertheless, it is a good idea that we all set goals or resolutions for ourselves because they indicate that we at least can acknowledge that there is room for improvement. I mean, we can't solve a problem if we never admit that we have one. And one such problem that many of us have struggled with at one time or another is financial happiness. Yes, money problems plague many people all around the globe, as it seems as though there just isn't enough of it. If you are honest enough to admit that you would like more financial happiness in your life, then I want to encourage you to stick around to the end of this video because I am going to share some tips that you can begin using today that will surely help you to gain control of your money and reclaim your sense of financial happiness and stability. Before we can begin tackling our fears, we must first identify exactly what they are. Far too many of us tend to bury our fears because, well, we don't want to face them. And as a result, they continue to persist in our lives. We must identify and face our fears if we desire to overcome them. This is especially true when it comes to financial fears. In an article from the Wall Street Journal, J.J. McCorvey wrote, when working with first-time clients, financial planners often ask them to recall their very first experiences with money, which can provide clues to their approaches to money in adulthood. It is critically important that we understand the power of our subconscious mind. Everything we do as adults is a result of the things that we have been storing in our subconscious mind since childhood. Few people understand this. They wonder why they can't get over this or get over that, failing to realize that they had a bad experience in their childhood that continues to replay itself out subconsciously. Research suggests that 95% of what we do every day is driven by our subconscious mind, which of course includes all of our habits. McCorvey goes on to write, how someone handles finances might vary widely depending on the person's first money-related memory. For example, someone who earned an allowance might have a very different experience with money compared with someone whose earliest memory is of a single parent struggling to make ends meet. Try to take a moment and think about your first experience with money. How was money handled and talked about in your household while growing up? Did your parents used to say things like, money doesn't grow on trees? Or give you the impression that money was hard to come by? Naturally, if our parents had a bad relationship or negative attitude toward money, we as adults will likely have the same. The good news, though, is that we can reprogram these negative memories from our childhood. But first, we must take the time to identify them. Experts advise journaling or talking to friends and family about memories to get a better understanding of the fear, which can offer more direction on how to move forward. As with anything else, if we truly want to improve our relationship with money, we need to take the time to learn about money. Most of us, if we're honest, are financially illiterate. We simply don't know how money works. We know how to make it and we know how to spend it, but we don't know how to work it. Worldwide, only 1/3 of adults understand basic financial concepts, and 4 in 7 Americans are financially illiterate. With that being said, financial illiteracy isn't entirely our fault. After all, in school, we're taught everything except the things that we really need to know. I don't know about you, but I didn't have a class on financial literacy in high school, teaching me to balance a checkbook or budget money, warning me about the dangers of credit card debt. I mean, not even in college was such a course available. And so, short of being taught these things at home, many of us just didn't know, which is why we must take the time to educate ourselves in this area. Thanks to the internet, a simple Google search on financial literacy can equip you with helpful information for free. On top of that, consider reading books or watching videos on money matters. There are a ton of them out there. I personally recommend I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. It's loaded with humor and packed full of strategies that, if you follow, will certainly improve your financial health. According to the Wall Street Journal, studies show that as income rises, so does happiness. But once annual earnings reach about $75,000, more money brings no significant improvement to happiness. This is partly because when we begin to make more money, we tend to compare ourselves to the Joneses. They bought a new car, so we go and buy one. One way to boost happiness is to analyze what really matters to us rather than to others. To prompt clients to clarify their goals, George Kinder, founder of the Kinder Institute of Life Planning, asks 3 questions. What would you do if you had all the time and money in the world? How would you live if you knew you had only 5 to 10 years left? And what would you most regret if you die tomorrow? Take some time and answer these questions. They will help you to focus on the things that really matter to you as opposed to those around you. Perhaps the things that we care about most won't require us to spend as much money as it would in trying to keep up with the Joneses. Money problems are a leading cause of divorce in the United States. According to family law attorneys Wilkinson and Finkbeiner, feeling that one's spouse spent money foolishly increased the likelihood of divorce 45% for both men and women. And couples that argue about finances at least once a week are 30% more likely to get divorced. To avoid this pitfall, couples can relieve stress by including some money in their budget to spend independently. The goal is to allow each to spend up to an agreed upon limit without criticism. Now, biblically speaking, when a couple marries, they become one flesh, and what's mine becomes yours, and what's yours becomes mine. As lovely as that sounds, it typically doesn't work out that way. So, if you're married and fight over finances, creating an independent budget for each of you to spend is a nice way to keep the peace. And it'll also very likely save you a ton of money from having to file for divorce. So there you have it. In your journey toward financial happiness in 2022, remember to identify what you are afraid of. Improve your financial literacy, focus on yourself, and minimize conflict. Let's not spend another year allowing our finances to cause us to stress and be anxious about things that we have the power to correct. As we progress through this new year, let us vow to take control of our money and not to let our money continue to take control of us. If you have found the content of this video helpful or insightful, please do give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and share it with others. As always, I greatly appreciate your support. Until next time, I'm Javon Harris, and you've been watching Seek. I pray that the remainder of your week is full of joy, peace, and most of all, love. Thank you for watching.